I think the best way to describe all the Marvel Studios' recent film success is to call them a series of bold gambles that ended up paying off. And not since the first Iron Man movie, all the way back in 2008, have we seen a gamble as big as the sprawling space opera action team comedy known as Guardians of the Galaxy. Even amongst the hardest core comic fans, the Guardians were not exactly an A-list idea, so making a big-budget Hollywood movie out of them seemed kind of crazy. But if there was one major theme that I think ties together all of the other Marvel movies up until this point, it's underdog franchises making good. And oh boy, if that isn't the best description of Guardians, then I don't know what is. The movie begins with a very surprising cold open where we're treated to the origins of Peter Quill and how he was abducted by a group of space pirates on the worst day of his life, and how he found himself living in space. The second Chris Pratt steps on screen, he just oozes swagger and confidence. I mean, he literally dances his way on screen. This is the kind of stuff that makes me think that he will no doubt be a movie star. That is if he can keep the movie star body and not go all Seth Rogen on us. His Star-Lord can best be described as the bastard child of Burt Macklin and Mal Reynolds. When Star-Lord steals a magical MacGuffin, an item that will no doubt become important down the line in later Avengers sequels, mark my word, he finds himself on the wrong side of Ronan the Accuser, played by Lee Pace, a Kree zealot who is angered by his planet's peace treaty with the Novas, yet again another comic group that will no doubt become very important down the line. Ronan will stop at nothing to destroy the planet Xandar, even if it means teaming up with Thanos the Mad Titan. But all this is really just an excuse to get Quill and his soon-to-be teammates thrown into the same prison so they can darily escape, and oh man, what a team it is. I think we all knew going in that Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon was going to be a big hit with the audiences, and he is, but the big surprise is the amount of depth they actually lend his character. I mean, he's a silly character, but there are moments where you do indeed feel for the silly little guy. Don't be surprised if there's a Rocket plushie under every Christmas tree this year. The real revelation, as it turns out, is actually wrestler David Bautista as Drax the Destroyer. In a movie filled with funny characters, Drax is the very important straight man, and he does one a hell of a job as an alien powerhouse who takes everything ultra literally. At the other end of the spectrum, we have Zoe Saldana, who works hard as the sexy and deadly Gamora, but at the end of the day, her arc is kinda cut short by the fact that her mind is already made up to betray the bad guys before the movie even begins. And last but not least, there is Grouch, basically the Hulk and the heart of the team. So nice to see a movie finally be able to tap Vin Diesel's major potential in the same way the Iron Giant did, by basically giving him a very limited vocabulary. Guardians of the Galaxy shares a lot of the same DNA as the Avengers, but if that team was a fancy social club of heroes, then this one is a raunchy biker gang of anti-heroes, and it is awesome. Most of this unique style no doubt comes from the director and cult movie golden boy James Gunn, who here has undergone a major creative rebirth that really shows that he is ready to face the world of blockbusters down the line. And of course, I must also give some credit to the co-writer of this piece, Nicole Perlman, who I get the feeling is kind of going to get lost in the shuffle of congratulations. The film really does manage to get a lot of the technical stuff that some of the other superhero movies miss. It's really great in terms of pacing and structure. There is little to no dead air. Something else that most definitely is going to knock people's socks off is just how much Guardians of the Galaxy rocks. I mean, the soundtrack is absolutely stellar. Not just cool songs, but music used in really interesting ways. I don't want to spoil it, but man, you are definitely going to want to sing along at parts. But if I had to pick one thing that makes Guardians of the Galaxy a truly great film experience, it's the emotional core these deeply flawed anti-heroes all share. They have this hidden depth that the movie picks just the right time to bring out of each of them. That's not to say the whole thing is perfect or without flaw, yet again I can't help but feel Loki is the only Marvel Universe villain that actually comes off as three-dimensional. Oh, Ronan and his team are a physical threat, sure, but I don't really feel like I got to know them. But hey, this is a movie about heroes after all, and the villains are really just an excuse for them to hit stuff in the final act. So, Guardians of the Galaxy is endlessly fun, incredibly action-packed, utterly hilarious, and if Winter Soldier raised the bar on superhero movies earlier this year, then this one moves the bar in a completely different direction. In short, this gamble totally paid off in my mind, and it turned into one of the best movies of a summer that has really brought out all the stops.